Hello, hello. Thank Godot. It's Friday. How's it going, everybody? Hey, Rhiannon. Welcome to Party Wipe, episode 28. We are working on a roguelike deck builder in Godot. In this roguelike deck builder, you will be drafting your own RPG party. Party Wipe. How's it going? I was just reading about something. Oh, I forgot to turn my lights on. Just reading about something interesting. Reading about a game that's like a hybrid of like this game and like our FTL like game. It's called Hunt of the Reptorians, and it's a sci-fi deck building roguelike where your ship is your deck. How cool is that? It's like they had the same idea. Wouldn't that have been crazy if that's how we had applied the idea? I don't quite understand how they implement it. It doesn't look like I don't quite understand how it works, but it's very cool. And it has like a battle system that's also occurring. Like your ship can be damaged. There's a hull breach now. They're blasting away parts of your ship. That's like really cool. Hey, Rimas. Pretty neat. Interested in trying it when it comes out. Looks like they do have card mana. So it looks like card... Yeah, I'll be interested to see how it works. Kind of neat, though. Hunt of the Reptorians. Fun idea. Trailer's pretty long. I feel like they're acknowledging that, like, I don't understand how you would play this game, and they're like, well, let me explain how you would play the game. A little tricky. Kind of cool, but let's get back to it. Keep an eye on that one. How's everyone doing today? I was tired last night, so I didn't work on our serialization system anymore. I worked on, like, the UI. Yeah, I figured out the manner and placement for our, Alright, come on, Godot. Come on, Godot. Come on. This is one of the slowest loading projects of any project I've ever had, and I swear it's all these tool scripts. But yeah, we have like an undo, redo, and a menu thing, and the way they're going to work is they're going to swap out. So like if you hover over the undo icon, these also might not all be available. Like the redo one is probably disabled or even hidden. Either disabled or hidden, maybe disabled. Disabled until you actually undo, and then you'll be able to use this one, but they'll swap around. So like you might replace this with so this might become its like hamburger version, because the undo one has been moused over, so it'll expand. It'll need to also... We'll need to fiddle with its Z indexing, because I'm using a HBox or VBox HBox container to organize it, but it should be neat. It should allow us to fit scripted buttons in a small space. I haven't set it up, so it doesn't work, but I at least figured out the placement and did the art for it. Hey Fender, how do you make your art? I use Sprite. Pretty much exclusively. So like here's the sprite sheet for the undo redo. assets here. Don't need to show the grid. I like A-Sprite. I pretty much only do pixel art stuff, so A-Sprite's good enough for me. That said, in this game, I'm only making the UI. I didn't do all the, I might do a couple adaptations, like we were talking about adding like an abyss version of the wall sprite or something, like so you could see where like bottomless pits are and everything. Thought about that. I haven't done it yet, but I'll probably do a few adjustments. But yeah, I'm largely not making the art in this game, largely using assets. But the UI I have to make because, you know, the UI is very bespoke. But yeah, I think it's a good spot. I think it's a good spot for the menu bar, which is what I'm calling it. There's just enough room next to the card hand, and there's still a bit of room up here, which is probably where we're gonna put like the player's like inventory, which is really just gonna be their like gold collection. It's kind of the last empty spot. I want to leave this area empty and this area empty for the rosters, and I want to leave this area empty and this area empty for the turn order timeline, because that could expand. Like if there's 4 hero characters and like 6 enemies or something like that, that's 10 tiles, and I haven't actually figured out if I could show 10 tiles on here yet, but in the space that I have. But we also have to think about space in terms of the character sheet. Actually, the character sheet actually leans out. I'm pretty happy with the way we've got the UI. I think we're pretty close to being done with this part as far as like organizing the UI and stuff. Obviously, we still need to make the game. The thing that I'm not happy about, and that I need to think about more, is how we're going to use items. How we're going to use items. So, like, how am I going to select? So, like, if I have got my knight, I can just click and drag them or click and place them to move them, right? But it's like, well, what if I want to use a particular weapon? Or what if I want to use one of my abilities? Well, it's like you'd probably need to click it and then click on something. That's fine. I kind of want to be able to like click and drag. So I could like click and drag my sword, and then the little sword icon shows up, kind of like the way it shows up here. But I could move it around anywhere within the deployment boundaries. I'd probably stop you from just attacking an empty space, but do something like that. So like a sword has a reach of 1, so I could probably attack adjacent tiles. And then the spear has a reach of 2, so I'd probably let you attack like diagonal tiles and like 2 tiles away. So there'll be some interesting like attack range stuff. Invalid access to character fig. Oh yeah, you don't have a definition of that anymore, do you? I got rid of that. Correct. Okay. Where was that? Where was that error? Here. Fender. You weren't convinced on buying it because you thought it would go to waste, so you got the free non-pirated version. You want to buy it to support the devs though. You know it's free if you compile it yourself. But yeah, I got it through Humble Bundle of all things, I guess, which is a huge pain in the butt because I don't buy anything through Humble Bundle. So when I want to update it, I have to go through this whole process. I kind of wish I just got it on Steam. I might repurchase it on Steam. Lord knows I've gotten enough value out of it. But yeah, Sprite is cool. I thought Game Maker had its own sprite editor. Not that I'm complaining about anyone using so if selected character on character fig selected character fig, if selected character. Here, what we would need to do is we would need to say if selected character dot, what is it? Name, character name is not equal to character fig dot character name. Oh, is your character name a label? Whose one of these is a label? That's a string name. That's a label. Okay, card name. Select your character dot card character res dot card name. Whatever. I need to rethink some of that stuff, some of that organization. Selected character. Should this just be else? No, this is fine. I wonder what happens if you try to open a character sheet that's already open, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. It seems fine. It seems like we haven't run into an issue with that. I changed a bunch of property names. And because this isn't writer, look for the raid. Raid alert. The Sapphire Starship is flying by. I'm going to decline your collaboration because I honestly don't know how that works and I'm afraid of it. Someone else has requested to collaborate with me too. Someone that I stream at the same time with a lot. And I'm like, I don't know what happens if I click that button. Scramble the jets. Oh, Arneo, Nanigans. I wondered where you all were. How's it going? Happy Friday. Thank Godot it's Friday. Thank you so much, Sapphire. I don't know why I'm gonna give you the shout out because you're famous here. But I'm gonna do it anyway for decorum. Did you hit something? Yeah, I think you did. It's fine. No, I didn't figure you. I figured you just mashed a bunch of buttons. But thank you. I appreciate the raid. Yeah, I'm afraid of the collaboration request. Someday someone will explain to me how it works. And I might be less afraid. I feel like more organization would need to happen. Like I need to be in I don't know how you get someone's audio from a collaboration. I assume you have to be in like a Discord call with them or something. Which I probably have that set. Let's see. Short stream today. Bit of spaceship design. Nice, nice. That sounds fun. It's a little confusing. I just type /raid and try not to misspell the person's name. Which I've done. I have misspelled names before. All right. Right now I'm just checking edge cases. So I guess I kind of like this item thing. I'm kind of not sold on the whole value. I kind of liked our organization of gold, silver, and copper. I kind of liked what we had before. But I also like this large item text window, so I think I'm unwilling to change it. I should just gray out items that don't have an action associated with them. That's probably what I should do. But we're not working on this right now. Right now we're working on serialization. I might set up these buttons, honestly. Might set those up too. We have like a menu bar. We have the makings of a menu bar. And I need to figure out how I want to set that up. You didn't know about a command? Yeah, I've never hit the raid button. Probably should use that. I convinced you to switch to Godot? Hell yeah. Welcome to the Godot side. I keep trying to smash the words Godot and good together in my head and like portmanteau them, and it's like not possible. The good side. What do they serve at this menu bar? Hamburgers. What they serve at every menu bar. Manigans, hamburgers. You know this. You're a front end guy. Only hamburgers. And maybe bento boxes, actually. I've heard that you can get bento boxes occasionally. All right, what am I going to do? What are we going to do? So what we did yesterday, we sorted out the character fig serialization, which was the most complicated one we've done yet. I haven't tested any of this, so probably doesn't work. So we kind of need to do the same thing for the character sheet, which is probably the most complicated thing we're trying to save. But I kind of want to... I kind of want to just work on that menu bar. And you know what? I guess I'm in charge, so we can work on whatever I want to work on. So I want this to be interactable. And we're going to do something tricky here, which is swapping things out. Only for the menu button, though, right? Oh, I've also spelled menu button in a funny way here. Let's fix that. How do you use the text tool in Aseprite? T. T. What does the menu bar have on the tab? That joke scan? No. You gotta go? All right. Thanks, Sapphire. Thank you for the raid. Hey, LSG. Caught a bit of your stream yesterday. I was lurking while I was doing some work. Lurking while I was working. Looking good. Saw some familiar faces there in the chat. I was working on this menu bar. So there's an easier way to do this and a harder way to do this, and what's the way that we're going to choose? What's the way that we are going to choose? Textures. Make a menu folder. I mean, honestly, we should make a UI folder, but I'm going to make a menu folder. All this stuff in there. So we need to make a bunch of these. Probably need to stop misspelling them so badly. So who should do this? Who should do this? Probably the menu bar. Should probably set up a script on the menu bar to handle some of the stuff we want for this kind of little fancy tabbed thing. So these are going to expand. I showed it earlier, but these are going to expand when you mouse over them, with the menu being the default. The menu will be there. These will probably be disabled more often than not. I could even hide them. I could conceivably hide them, but I think it would be better to just disable them. You're a texture button, right? Why can't... Oh, I see. It's an excuse for you, Digi, and Rhiannon to hang out. Yeah, it was cool. It's cool. It's cool stuff. It was fun listening to the 3 web devs all talk about SQLite and database management. You also have a Twitch? So you're reading another chat a lot? Yeah, we multi-stream. We multi-stream Twitch and YouTube. YouTube has higher, like, visual fidelity. But, yeah, the chat's a little bit more popping on the, Twitch. You don't want to be over here on Twitch. These are just nothing but degenerates in the chat here. So I could... The only... There's a couple of ways I could do this. And I think I have an idea of the way I want to do it, so we're going to do it. I'm going to make this menu bar. I'll just put it here. HBox container. Rather than having the buttons be set up. This might involve signal chaining. It's probably the easiest way to do this. Are these... So it needs to be... We need to be like focus-centered and mouse-centered, but we'll start with mouse-centered because we don't really have a focus chain management thing. 3 web devs walk into a menu bar. One of them centers a div. You guys are notorious. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just hook them up. We're going to start by just hooking them up. And then we'll see the gaps, because I know there's going to be some layering issues here, the way I want to do this. But we're not going to mess with it until I can see it. These aren't toggle mode, right? No, they're not. Okay. They should start disabled, though. Let's go down the line. Hey, Fender. Hey, one of us. You are the 800th follower on Twitch. Thank you. That's great. I was wondering when we were going to get there. I really should have had something. The delay on YouTube is crazy. I'm going to let you on. It's worse than Twitch, but I'm going to let you on in a little secret. It's mostly me. The YouTube chat window is just not quite in my eye line like the Twitch one is. And it's usually slower, so I don't check it as often. But thank you. Welcome to the Twitch side. There's been a bit more uptake on YouTube for the streams lately, which has made me feel good. It got really bad It was already pretty bad for my FTL like. It was really bad for lo-fi already. And then the switch to making a roguelike deck builder just like continued this downward trend. But the last couple of streams, YouTube's shown the stream to a few more people, which is nice. So we'll see. I think YouTube will be happier when I start doing things like making shorts and like short devlogs and stuff like that. I think YouTube will be happier. I don't think YouTube really likes live stream content very much unless you already have like a huge following. There was a time when we had like 100 concurrent YouTube viewers live stream, and I was like, I don't know what's happening. We live in this age of inscrutable algorithms, and you don't know what they want, and you don't know how they work, and you just, it's like, they're like the new gods. You just pray to them and hope. You just pray to them and hope. All right, let's make the rest of these textures. I should try to do work today. So we're gonna do redo button small, no, redo button pressed. I just don't want to work on the serialization today. It's like super important. I'll probably work on it a lot over the weekend. But at the moment, I'm so tired. I worked so much this week. Anytime there's a holiday, which last Friday was a holiday in the US here. Oh, it was an observed holiday. The actual holiday was Saturday, but whatever. Anytime there's one of those, the following week is just absolutely brutal. And I almost always make up the time. Which just feels like, it's like, why are we even bothering? Why even bother? All right, redo button focused. Oh, this is gonna be a problem. No, it's not. It's not. It's not gonna be a problem because of the way we're doing this. The way that we're doing this. Not a problem. Yeah, 15-second delay to process the high-res video, plus 15-minute delay for Dave to notice. Yeah, YouTube has a low latency mode, but you have to reduce your resolution. And because I treat YouTube as like the archival storage system for the stream, it's not worth it for me. No one would notice if I switched down to like 1440p. But because I'm not storing these locally, because each stream is like 50 gigabytes, I'm not kidding. Each stream is at least 50 gigabytes. Because I'm not storing them locally, if I do want to like pull from the streams to make shorts or like devlog content in the future, I need like a reasonably high-res source. So at least I could just download the YouTube video. That won't totally work. I'd have to strip the audio out or just use all of it. So if I really want to make content, what I should do is just record something locally and just use that, but I don't know. What am I doing? Redo button. Let's just do disabled. Disabled. I lost track of the order in which I was doing things. I don't think I actually did the pressed button yet, even though it says I did. Mario, the third web dev says, put it all on my tab. You were relentless. This isn't exactly what it should be. We should be using the... Oh. I've identified a slight problem. Or have I? I can just shorten this to be 34. There we go. No problem. Easy. All right. I don't think I actually did this one correctly. I did not. 102. Yeah. Okay. Hovered. Also wrong. Oh, no, that's undo button. Redo button disabled, focused, pressed. Yeah, okay, so we do need the hovered one. Can I just reduce this? 68. You'll notice I'm still not reading the chat. Even though we're on, even though it's the Twitch chat. How do you change the FPS? You can set each frames. I don't know if you can do it otherwise, but you can set the frame properties. You can set the duration per frame, which is pretty neat. Just double click on the frame number. I don't know if you can do it per layer per frame. No, you can only do it per frame, but still neat. You can probably also access it here. Yeah, P, frame properties, P. P for properties. Yeah, you notice now. I'm actually using, you all should be proud that I'm actually using like a control hierarchy to do this, to set this menu bar up. It's like the only time. Everything else is like a totally flat control hierarchy because I hate controls so much. It's totally unjustified. My dissatisfaction with control nodes. That's me not being a web dev. That's me being like, why did we agree that this was the way to do this? All right, so that's redo. That's redo, and that should be okay. Now we're gonna do undo. Two. Oops. Undo. Fender, how do you make a sprite sheet for Godot and A-Sprite? Like, how do you do it? Do you just leave a certain amount of pixels between each frame? You can do however you want. Yeah, you can either the thing, it depends. It depends. So, It depends on how you want to deal with it. So, like, for stuff that doesn't animate, I just do an atlas. So, like, here's all of our characters. They're just in a grid. You can define your grid, so you can go to view and you can go to grid and you can go to grid settings and you can define the size of the grid, which is a helpful guide. And you can show the grid too. And you can even shift S to snap to grid, so you can do a lot of grid-based operations. In terms of exporting it, so I can just export this. I'm running into an issue where there's actually pixel bleed coming from the Bard up here. So I might need to do I might need to introduce padding to this, because I'm running into a graphics error with that. But if it's an animation, you can do something else. You can say, so if you've got like multiple frames, you can export it, and you can export sprite sheet, which is Control E. And then that lets you can say the layout. You can be like, oh, I want rows, and you can be like, no, I want columns. Or you can, I would just go packed, which will try to give you the most squared up sprite sheet. And then you can specify like which layers you want, how many frames, if you want padding, spacing, and you can output it. You need to check this box that says output file, or it will literally do nothing, which is very strange. So yeah, Control E to export a sprite sheet. If you have like, if you're talking about an animation, if you're making an atlas, I just like to do this. But I realize now I need to add some padding. Godot adds padding to texture or to tile sets, to tile set atlases, but it doesn't seem to add it to, I guess it doesn't know where the padding would be. I wonder if I can do that in the atlas texture. So if I go here and I go to my night atlas texture, region, margin. That doesn't do anything. There's probably a way to do that here, because I am running into texture bleed stuff. Texture bleed issue. Which I could solve by just widening this sheet slightly, which I might just do. I don't really want to do that for everything, but I might. Hey, Ryder. How's it going? Welcome in. Happy Friday. Big words. Big words, first time chatter. Appreciate it. How do you copy paste? You're just trolling me now. What are you talking about? Ooh, pizza Arneo. That sounds fun. You've previously said you're a bit of a troll offender, so I'm taking that at face value. I would attempt to use whatever you normally try to use when you copy and paste things. All right. Undo button hovered, undo button pressed. We also need an undo button focused. 136. Save as. Not trolling, you're making water and you want to copy paste the waves. Forgot to say an ace sprite. How do you copy and paste in that? The same way you do it everywhere. Here's this guy. Well, here's this guy. Copy. Control C, as is tradition. Paste. Control V, as is tradition. Make sure that your selection is correct, right? Make sure that you're on the right layer. Make sure that you've actually box selected what you want if you're just trying to copy and paste a selection. If you just select the layer and Control C, Control V, you'll copy and paste the whole layer, which no one has ever done on purpose. They've only ever done that on accident. You tried earlier, it didn't work, so it's not fair. There was probably something about your selection that was messed up. That happens to me all the time. My selection will be somewhere and I'll try to do something else, and or one pixel will have gotten selected somewhere, or 2 pixels or whatever. I actually don't think Sprite lets you select 1 pixel, which is smart because that's literally a meaningless well, no, I guess it will let you do it. It's hard. It's harder to do. Oh, okay. You just have to drag. Okay. You can do it. You just can't light click. You have to click drag. That's fun. I didn't know that. But yeah, I think I need to widen these guys to introduce a bit of a padding. I'm going to fix that right now, actually. How much padding would we need? Well, we don't need padding around the outside. So it would just be 3 in each direction. So 67 by 67. This needs to be widened. I did this. I should have done this a different way, but it's fine. We're using a light mask on some stuff to brighten things. We're manipulating things a little bit. I brightened the environment, and I felt like I also needed to brighten everything else a little bit. I probably should have done 5 pixels. I'm gonna undo all of this. And we're gonna do it correctly. And by correctly, I mean again. Leave that anchored. Make this fully opaque so I can see it. Specify my grid as being 18 by 18. Why is that weird? Do I not know how to math? I probably don't. In point of fact. Probably don't know how to math. So, yeah. 36, 72. Oh, I just made the file the wrong size again. I just don't know what I'm doing as a general rule. In spite of what Writer Mine said earlier. You duplicate layers intentionally all the time? That is different. Duplicating a layer intentionally is different than copy pasting a layer intentionally. That is very different. Going over here, right-clicking, and hitting duplicate is a very different workflow than accidentally copy-pasting. I'll have none of this. You know what I probably should have done before doing this is I probably should have done some lookups on this. I also probably should have taken closer notice on how everyone is anchored. Because now I'm confused. I'm gonna open the exported version of the file. This will be good. If I want to do some outlining or whatever later, I could do it this way pretty easily. Now that I've given myself margins. Although then I'd just be back to where I was in terms of texture bleed, but that'd be fine because everyone would have an outline and you wouldn't notice the texture bleed. Well, maybe you would. Maybe you would. Also, how did these guys get this close? What happened here? What the fuck, Mr. Knight? How did you get all the way over? What happened? What has occurred? I feel like I gotta go from the bottom here. Oh, that's the wrong spot. You're switching to Godot. Game Maker's much easier. I still disagree with that statement, but I never use Game Maker, so I guess I can't. Yeah, there's a ton of Godot tutorials. I would assume there are more Godot tutorials than there are Game Maker tutorials, honestly. Because Godot's been around since, what, like 2014? That's when they made the engine public. I don't know how long Game Maker's been around. Actually, Game Maker's pretty old. Yo-Yo Games has been developing it since 2007. Still, I assume the community for Godot is much larger. But I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe that's not true. Yeah, but the Unity fiasco was 3 years ago. Surely. I'm not very familiar with the ecosystem because I am not a tutorial guy. That's not a humble brag. I'm not like some genius who just knows how to do things. Tutorials are not how I learn. So I don't know. I learn with just blood, sweat, and tears. That's how I learn. I'm not going to enjoy doing this for all of the sprite sheets. Hey, see ya. How's it going? I'm saying hey to see ya. I'm not saying see ya to someone. Did you draw those sprites yourself? No. No. This is the roguelike. This is the Pixel-like 2 asset pack. LSG, you're a tutorial guy. You can vouch for Brackeys and Clear Code. Cool. Yeah, I think GD Quest is also good. Oh, you know what's going to be a problem? This background. Oh, no, it's not. No, it's not. Never mind. Because we're still using Atlas textures to limit what we're actually using. Never mind. Never mind. Ignore me. Ignore me. Whose baby is this? Ignore me. Sorry. I'm a devoted Venture Brothers fan. Devoted? Devoted? Devout? I'm a devout Venture Brothers fan. Although I still haven't seen the movie. No spoilers. I can't bring myself to. It's too sad. Just the idea that it's over. That show is very important to me. The show started in 2003. Isn't that crazy? I say to a bunch of people who probably aren't familiar with it. Make sure I'm repositioning things correctly. Nope. I guess I could change my mind about how these are positioned, but... How's it going, see ya? I'm not really sure what to do with this Artificer character here. I'm thinking about him. From a design standpoint. He's got a turret, but that's about all he's got going on. Alright. We redid the Sprite Atlas. One final check to make sure I put everyone in the right spot here. We need to introduce padding. We were seeing some graphical errors, which kind of just popped up out of nowhere. I don't know why I was not seeing them before, but I'm seeing them now. But we were seeing texture bleed from the Atlas texture. Because we make these sprite sheets, and then we make an Atlas texture for each character. Which, you know, now that I think about it, doesn't save us anything. It's unfortunate. In terms of, like, item, or in terms of, like, file count. It almost would have been better to just stick with the individual sprite files that the pack came with, which was already over 1,000 files. Interfering with my ability to have a web build of this game, honestly. Maybe we can still get away with it just because we aren't going to use most of the things in the tutorial. And by the tutorial, I mean the demo. Yeah, it's not a meaningful memory thing. I did it for organization and in the hopes that we could get to an acceptable file count. But the problem is, if you go the sprite sheet route, you need to create like a texture atlas or like a sprite 2D. You can avoid the texture atlas by like making a sprite 2D as like a scene and like setting the texture with the regioning and stuff yourself. But then that's still a file. You aren't like saving yourself a file. Assuming you don't have a scene for the character. Like, there's no night scene. The night is just an icon that we use. And honestly, that wouldn't be any savings if we made a sprite for it, because we use these icons all over the place. We use them in cards, we use them on the character sheets, we use them for the figures. So I don't know. There's probably not a way around it. I do need to fix these probably. No. Yes. It's gonna be tight. We're gonna have to see whether it's even doable. But I really want a web build, at least for the initial alpha version. We'll see. This is not a small game, unfortunately. Turned out to not be a small game, and it's nobody's fault but mine. Nobody's fault but my own. Yeah, games are big software. I was talking to someone who's been like working to reduce their install size from like 5 gigabytes down to 3 gigabytes, and I'm like, that's crazy. I mean, I'm making a Godot game, so I'll never get anywhere close to that. They're not even making a 3D game. It's a 2D game, and they've gotten up to that. And I'm like, that's wild. I don't know how you get gigabytes of 2D assets. Pretty high res. Their stuff's pretty high res, which might be it, but with a lot of very smooth animations. But for us pixel people, it's very strange. Nanigans, it's certainly not the fault of chat constantly nudging me into increasing my scope. Certainly not. Certainly not. It's not like every stream someone has a crazy idea of what to do to just make everything much more complicated. All right, so let's see if we fixed our graphical thing. Yeah, texture bleed is gone from here. That's good. Texture bleed is still present for this. Texture bleed is present in this tile atlas. That should be easy to fix. I should be able to fix that by just going in here. Which tile atlas is that even? Oh, it's the tile set, not the atlas. So if I go in here and I turn on use texture padding, it does it all for me, which is very nice. But we can't do everything that way, unfortunately. I probably should also do that here because I feel like that's going to be a thing. Oh, I do have it on here. Okay, good. All right. That was driving me insane. If it's not clear, I get annoyed by even just the smallest. Oh, why isn't this changing position? Oh, it's concerning. Oh, because that's the start position for the H box. Why isn't pushing the whole thing over? Huh. Investigations are in order there. Okay, texture bleed solved. Beautiful. But yeah, the characters can't be tile sets because we want to be able to drag them around. Well, we want to be able to animate them. And by animate them, I mean move them, like physically move them around. Which you could technically do. You could technically do with a tile set. You can have animations in tile sets. I still am. We're not gonna do it, but I've been tempted. I've been tempted at times. But I want to have nice smooth, like when you attack, you do like a little shift. You shift your position a little bit. You're like pop, pop, you know. And again, your game currently has about 300 files, 8 megabits just for the map editor. Map editor that only has 4 tiles so far. Yeah, what is the combinatorics of that? That's going to be interesting. Wave files are big. Wave files are big. That'd be the actual sound effect when you attack? Probably not. We could do the you know, the Slay the Spire like shitty beta art, but we could do it for sound effects. But no, there's no reason to do that. I'm holding off. I'm being strong and I'm holding off. But there will be a time, probably late one night, where I just go and I just browse itch and I just buy a shit ton of music and sound effects. But we aren't worried about that. We are going to implement sound between the first and the second playtest. That's when we're going to implement sound. Because playtest 1 is at a bar. It's at a barcade. So it's so loud, no one's going to be able to hear anything anyway. So I'm not even going to bother implementing sound. And that's playtest 1, which is in about 6 weeks. Playtest 2, which is in about 10 to 11 weeks. That is a much more intimate setting, and I will try to have sound implemented for that. So we know when sound is going to be implemented. It'll be fun. You're avoiding the issue with combinatorics by having the multi-layered render map grid. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. That's why you do that sort of thing. But imagine what the combinatorics could be. This is my favorite song on this radio. Yeah, so you realize that very early on, your game would have had to been much simpler, take much longer, take up way more resources. Yeah, I did the same thing. This is why we like to bring up my the glimpse into the insanity. I open this file. Computer is like, this file is too significant to open. Well, I can't open it with that. Just open it with photos. What's wrong with you? Okay. They're like, we can't open this. I don't know what you want. Oh, that's an Asprite file. So why can't Asprite open it? Asprite, hello? Oh, it did open it. Yeah, this. This was the window into the madness that got me to switch. I was like, I wonder how bad it would be to do all the edgewise tiling as a single bit flag, which is pretty incredible that that would fit as a bit flag. It would have fit. Pretty crazy. But yeah, this was the window into the potential insanity of the auto tiler, where I was like, you know what? We're gonna do this per face and not per block. Because this doesn't even begin to capture the different material faces. But I like busting this out every once in a while. Just a glimpse into my madness. Hey, No Jewel. How's it going? It's fun. What happened to menu button normal? I thought I had saved that. Okay, whatever. 34. Save as. Did I save it in some weird folder? No, it's right there. Oh, damn it. Okay. I don't love that the file system remembers the name you were using. And then is like, hey, I'm going to mess everything up. Because I just do what you tell me to do. Like, if you go to save as a resource, the file name that should propagate in this should be the file name of the resource that you were saving. It shouldn't be just whatever name you used last. That's caused me so much pain. I just accidentally overwrite files. We're not going to do a menu button disabled because that's not a thing that's going to happen. It's not a thing. That's not a condition that we would ever reach. So we're not going to do it. Nice, Snagons. Everyone's got the jokes today. The jokes are ready to go. Oh. Alright, so focused though. We do have a focus. Well, not if I don't make it. Focused. 136. How did that happen? This one, there we go. All right, okay. That took way longer than it needed to, but we've got those set up. What we still need to do is we need our system. We need a little system that can let us swap between them a little. There needs to be a couple like little things that need to change to get the UI to work correctly. We're working on UI today because I can't be bothered to do anything more. That's weird. Why? Oh, no. What? Wait. Hold on a second. What did I do? I did something wrong. What's going on here? 3. Okay. Also 3. Okay. Oh, snap. All right. Fine. I put these in the wrong spot. Can I just fix it? Can I just fix it with no consequences? Looks like it. Excuse me, a Sprite. Thank you. There we go. I see a slight problem, but that's fine. We'll figure it out. Actually, I mean, it is a small problem, but we already have the tools to fix it. So what's going to happen is these icons are going to expand out to their full name. For whichever one you've moused over, that one will expand to its full name, and the other two will collapse. I haven't set that up right, up yet. And right now, menu is the only one. And to start, these ones would be disabled anyway. Is that going to work? No, that's not going to work either. Do you need a redo? We've got one. That's what this one is. That's what the clockwise one is. So, slight problem the way I've implemented this. But it's okay. It's okay. We have the tools to fix it. Do I like that purple generally for like a disabled button? I could also just hide the button. Don't worry about some of the marginal stuff that's happening. I could also hide it. Like we could slide it out or something. Instead of have like a disabled appearance. Although, no, we can't slide it out if we want to use this HBox container. We'd have to manually control the positioning. Which wouldn't be that bad. But I don't really want to do that. We'll try it like this. Not the end of the world. Alright, so now we need to set up this code to help managing the state changes. So first thing we're going to do is set up a bunch of signals. I know you were trying to make a joke, no, Joel. I was willfully misunderstanding. Not my partner's favorite personality trait of mine. Usually I willfully misunderstand things in pursuit of humor, not to frustrate the pursuit of humor. So that's on me. That's my bad. How are you doing? I still have to hurry up and watch all of the GodotCon, the Amsterdam GodotCon talks before the next North America GodotCon happens, which is like in like a week or two. Something like that. GodotCon NA 2026. Yeah, a couple of weeks. July 21st. Very soon. You're actually just wondering if you need the redo button? Well, how else would you redo? You just don't think anyone will redo ever? It's a timeline, so someone could go like all the way back and then all the way forward and they can just like flicker them. Someone could abuse it. But not in a gameplay way, just in a it's annoying and I'm gonna have to handle it kind of a way. But yeah, I don't know. So you're recommending potentially just making people just do their action again rather than giving them a redo button. It's like you can just do that again if you need to. I think you're right. I think we could get away with not having a redo button. But the thing is, the people that would want a redo button will be very upset that I don't have one. It's one of those things, I think. All right, is there anything we need to do when the menu button gets mouse entered? I don't know. I just plugged these all in and I didn't actually think about which ones we'd need. We also might not need the exited. Well, maybe we do need the exited. Because we want to return to this state. So the idea is that you expand whichever one of these is getting moused over. And that happens kind of automatically. So what we'll do first. So let's set up an export variable here. We're going to call it menu icon. It's going to be a texture 2D. And we will plug in menu button small right. And then so when this enters, what we're going to do is we are going to say, let's do the onReady variables. Just limit it to undo, just the last action for full frustration. Oh, yeah. I really want those. I really want those negative reviews. Hey, Kemoth. How's it going? And again, the only two games you can think of that have undo that also let you redo is Forza and Braid. I think it's a pretty reasonable convention in a game to understand that it's a I effed up, let's go back and fix it, not a time travel at will. Yeah, there's just no reason for it not to be a time travel at will. Except for that it's like, you know, it doesn't have to be. I don't know. The way we're writing the serialization system, as long as the performance is acceptable, like what if you accidentally undo your turn? I mean, yeah, it's a mild inconvenience, but it would be nice if you could just redo it without having to like, yeah, I don't know. I take a very like maximalist approach to input, to supporting different inputs. And I don't want to work on important things today. I only want to work on stupid, extraneous, ancillary things. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's fine. I think it would be like, I don't think people would get that riled up about it if it was just like, you can undo your last action. Because you can't really undo that far or redo that far. Because you can only do it within one turn, and one turn is one character. So it's like, you won't, it's not like this thing where there's going to be this complicated undo stack. All right, so on redo button mouse entered, we're going to say menu button dot texture normal equals menu icon. Well, we're going to have to say menu icon small. Oh, we don't need to say icon small, but I'm going to. Maybe we just say menu norm, menu icon. And here we say add export variable menu normal or norm. Because I like when my variables line up. I'm willing to sacrifice legibility. So the only thing we're gonna do for now is just swap this and see if this is sufficient for some of what we want here. My upstairs neighbor is like very physically active, and I'm like very curious about what they do. They like leap and bound across the apartment. Okay. It's like almost correct. What's going on with the H box though? This is kind of not what I expected the H box to do. I expected the H box to just handle this for us. Why is this pinned to here instead of to the end of this? Is the size not updating? Let's say redo. Let's fix this over here. Undo button dot size equals undo button dot texture hover dot get size. Huh. It's weird because if I do this outside of run, like watch what happens if I just do this here. Like let me manually change this to be this. And then let me manually change this to be this. Notice how, aside from the layering issue, which we can fix, notice how it just works. Is size, do I need to specify layout size? No. Container nodes update this property automatically. Automatically, it says. Notice the use of the word automatically. Why am I having to do this? And why is doing it manually not doing anything? Oh, that changes it. So if I buff this out. That does something. Doesn't do the right thing, but it does something. This is yet another reason why I just don't like, Oh, well, now everything's messed up. What's happened here? The wrong one. The wrong one here. Oh, no, I picked the right one here. Picked the wrong one here. What's going on? There we go. So what we should do is we should do the layering part. So on undo, mouse button entered, menu button dot texture dot normal. We're gonna say undo button dot z-index plus equals 1. Or we can just say equals 1. And here we can say equals 0. Maybe it's a layering issue. Will it just work now? Nope. What? Do the same thing here. Okay, HBox container never fails to disappoint me. Well, the control nodes never fail to disappoint me. Yeah, why are you collapsing? They shouldn't be collapsing. They should be stretching out to the side. Is there like an HBox setting I need to set up? Alignment begin. Center, maybe? I don't think that will matter, but nope, that makes it way worse. Okay. Yeah, alignment to begin is fine. What about end? End could work. Oh, no, that's also way worse. Okay. Okay, we're not messing with alignment. Maybe I need to set a custom minimum size. It keeps it from bouncing around, but it's still not doing the thing that I want, which is if you do this, if the HBox is doing its job, the menu hamburger icon should be down at the end of the undo thing, but for some reason it's sliding in just after the icon. It's ignoring the size of the button. What's up with that? Ooh-wee. Yet again punished. Yet again. Yet again punished for using a control node. Should just do this myself. Just record the default positions and just return it to the default position. Disappointed literally every single time I use a control node. Disappointed by it. Funny how it works totally fine at editor time, and then at runtime it just completely falls apart. Maybe there's a container sizing thing that I need to set. Is it not set to fill? It probably is. But if it's not, that could explain it. Nope. It is set to fill. Is it set to expand? I don't know. Nope. Okay, yeah, forget it. I don't know. I don't know why it's being, I don't know why it's being difficult. Oh well. Well, rip the menu bar. Get rid of that. We're just gonna do this ourselves. Gonna do this ourselves. We're just going to record the starting positions, and we'll just return things back there. We'll just have them all talk to each other. So, like, they all kind of need to know when the other ones fire. They also need to know when they fire. So, let's do that. So, I probably need to make scripts for each of them. Do I have any coffee left? Coffee check. I do. It's barely drinkable. Thanks for the stretch, Kemoth. I need to start standing more. I'm starting to get that lower back pain that tells me that I'm, like, at the computer too much. No coffee left, Nanigans? Rip. Rip. I have the standing desk. I can do it. I've just turned off. I just don't. I don't because I'm lazy, but maybe we'll do it. Maybe after the next ad break, I'll stand up. I love the Star Trek meme of Geordi being like, Data, I'm your friend, and I'm not just gonna stand here and let you do this. And then they just cut to him sitting down. From the great Durunter gang meme videos of Star Trek. You're back. Welcome back, Fender. LSG, you got brutal sciatica last October, and now you stand more than you sit at your desk. Yeah, my there's a history of that in my family, and I've had flare-ups that indicate to me I might be at a risk for such a thing as well. It's concerning. My problem is I don't exercise, so my muscles are not very strong. So I get so tired standing at my desk. It's crazy. I used to stand all day at work. Used to stand all day. All day at work. The whole day. I'd even bike to and from work. Like I used to be a contender. But man, 4 or 5 years of like work from home will absolutely destroy your body. All right, we're gonna introduce a class name just so that the code prediction works. Or code completion. That's like a really stupid ass name to introduce a class name. But we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. These 3 buttons are just gonna talk to each other. And Thornity is going to come in and be like, when can I play the game? And I'm going to be like, stop, hold up. We're working on serialization and the UI. We're doing the important work. No, I'm not doing the important work. And I'm actually very upset at how sidetracked I've gotten. But I feel like all of these things need to happen. Especially because I'm not going to have a lot of tutorialization with these initial versions. I feel like I need undo redo. I need undo redo so that players can explore the system without totally hosing themselves up every like 10 seconds. Any beginner? Oh, you must have left. Everyone was giving you some answers, Fender, on tutorials. I think the consensus is that Brackeys is good. Brackeys. Brackeys. Brackeys is good. Clear Code is good. GD Quest, I think is good. I think those 3 you could do a lot worse. There's some others. Yeah, I think those are the big 3. The Godot docs themselves have good tutorials. That's what I did. I did the Godot doc tutorial projects, and I also just like read the manual. But I'm from a prior age. That's not a dig. That's just like, I have a different process for absorbing information. I don't actually mind sitting and reading really dry material. I find it's helpful. Because I'll be like, how do I do this? And I'll be like, oh, I remember reading about something about how you do that. And then I usually figure it out. I'm usually able to trace it back to the docs. All right, so what do we need? What do we need to get this started? We know we needed the menu button. The menu button needed to have a small version of the icon. call it menu icon. Maybe a texture 2D. Add export variable menu norm. They probably all want to know each other. They probably all want references to each other. It's probably the easiest way to do this. And then it's probably best if I just have them hooked up to their own signals. You read the manual? Nerdiest game developer in this world. That's just the way. That's just the way. That's just the way. LSG, your serotonin system's all fucked up, so you do better with videos. Harder for you to sit still and read. Yeah. For me, videos are a distraction, not... For me, videos are noise, not signal. So for me, I like to... I'll even have a video on in the background while I'm reading. For me, the video is just... Videos are noise. I don't know why. For me, audio content is just filler. It's just stuff happening. I have a hard time absorbing information aurally, auditorially. I am way better if I can read stuff. Obviously, the best thing is to just try. I'm an experimental learner, firstly, and I'm a textual learner, secondarily. And I feel like the two together is really good because you can refer to the text while you're trying stuff. There's a lot of cross-reference, but I know nowadays, I guess if you learn by doing, people call that like a kinesthetic learner. But I don't totally understand that because that has an association with your hands, which I guess is right. But yeah, everyone has their own learning types. It's worth spending a little bit of time reading about learning types and figuring out what your learning type is. And there's no correct learning type or bad. There's no good or bad. I mean, they have different advantages. But yeah, I think it's good to know what your learning type is because it'll help you maximize your effectiveness at learning. So when the mouse enters the menu button needs to become well, what do we need to... Well, what we need to do is we need to set the others. That's what we need to do. So let's hold on. Let's go back and pass this for a second. I need to think about this. I'm gonna try to limit the amount of crosstalk between these, but maybe they should actually all be connected to each other. We could either call or signal. They're peers, so I don't love the idea of calling, but calling is probably the most straightforward thing to do, so let's just do that. We're just gonna copy this mostly to the others. Hey, you got this. You got the Peak Bear emote. Nice. Hey, Nix, thanks for the hydrate. What's that track? Oh, all the tracks will be listed in the chat. So I think you were talking about Brain Talks. What music do you like to listen to if you like to listen to music in your free time? It depends. It depends. I don't usually know what I'm listening to. I like listening to kind of like this radio. I like to just kind of put stuff on a lot. Lately I've been on a lot of dungeon synth kick while working on the game, which is my free time. My free time is spent working on this game. But that's more to just get in the mood and to have. There's a lot of fucking dungeon synth music on YouTube. You can just put it on and lose yourself for hours. Otherwise, my taste is pretty eclectic. I like listening to a lot of different stuff. What if your learning type doesn't let you sit down and focus on learning about your learning type? Yeah, that's rough. That's rough. Dungeon Synth is good, Nanigans. You might like it. Mountain Realm. Go listen to Mountain Realm. I like them particularly for Dungeon Synth. There's a few others I like a lot too. Ithia is very good. Ithia is very up. Ithia is very up and like very fantasy. Ithia is not Dungeon Synth, but Ithia is good. I think that's their name, Ithia. Ithya. Yeah, Ithia. They have a YouTube series. Blue Turtle is the channel. Blue Turtle is a very good YouTube channel. Really beautiful animations. Great music. That's for very upbeat, like orchestral, like fantasy ambience. And then if you want to get down with some dungeon synth, start with Mountain Realm. Specifically, I like Frostfall. Frostfall is my jam, but all of their stuff is good. There's also a channel that just archives Dungeon Synth. There's like a Dungeon Synth archive channel. What's it called? It might just be called Dungeon Synth Archive. It literally is called the Dungeon Synth Archives. Check them out. There's a shit ton of Dungeon Synth. Everyone is making Dungeon Synth for some reason. Ever since like a few years ago. Well, no, it goes back like at least 10 years. It's been a great decade for Dungeon Synth. Undo button. I don't know if they need those export variables. I'm going to remove them for now. We're going to see about how we're setting this up. No, you can't check them out later. You should close the stream. No, just kidding. Where did your name come from? So your contention is that Digital Lad is a normal name, but Digital Iliad sounds weird. You're not familiar with the Iliad? The Iliad of Homer? So I was originally making a game that I was going to call Digital Iliad. And so I made a YouTube channel and a Discord and a Twitch channel and a website, which is currently down. I need to work on that. I broke my web implementation by just deleting things at random. Don't do that. And then I ended up the name kind of became a brand for me instead of a name of a game. I still think it's the best game name I'm ever going to come up with, which is unfortunate. But yeah, it's kind of just become my brand. But yeah, go read the Iliad. Just in time for Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey. I would say the Iliad is one of the more important works of fiction in the Western literary canon. It also has a lot of really interesting examples for games of like it has a lot. It's got a lot of. It's really interesting to analyze it in the context of the growth of certain literary traditions and how mediums evolve and grow. There's a lot of interesting stuff there. So we might do some cheeky like sliding the icons out. The name is weird. Iliad. So Iliad means the poem about Ilion. Ilion being a name for Troy. I think it's good. I think it's a good name. I think it's got alliteration. A good name has alliteration. Where did your name go? I don't know, no, Jewel. I don't know. It definitely took on a life of its own. Are you gonna try to come up with a better name for this game? What's wrong with Party Wipe? Do you not play Dungeons and Dragons? Because Party Wipe is like a well-understood term. It's one of those if you know kind of names, which is the goal of it. But yeah, you've got a lot of spicy takes today, Fender. Big words. Big words coming from you today. I like Party Wipe. But it's definitely like if you're not familiar with like where it comes from, there is a chance that you're going to think it's a Jackbox game, which is why I took the exclamation point out of the name. Originally, it had an exclamation point in it. Wow, I am not accomplishing anything today. We're 2 hours in and I've like been fiddling with buttons. It's Friday. It's Friday and I'm tired. No, Party Wipe is the name. I don't see it. I don't see changing it. It's gotten a pretty good reception so far. You're self-accepted. Also, no one needs to come out of the woodwork and defend the name. The name is fine. Are you having fun? Hey, Kemoth. This is work. But yeah, the stream is fun, which is part of the reason why not a lot of work gets done, because the stream is fun, and fun is not work, and work is not fun. Let's see. Okay, so I've got these up. They're theoretically... Well, I wrote the code. I didn't actually hook up the signals. We got an ad break coming up in a minute. We'll do what we can. But yeah, you got a lot of hostile opinions about my name today. My various names. I think we just have different tastes and backgrounds. Not you, Kemoth, you know. You do sometimes play Dungeons and Dragons, not much. Party Wipe sounds like a platformer. Oh, you mean it sounds like if you called a platformer jump through platforms? See, I don't think that's actually a problem. I don't think that's actually a problem. What's the game that's blowing up on Steam right now? Is it called Ready or Not? What's it called? It's called Ready or Not, right? Have you heard of this, Fender? No, it's not called Ready or Not. What's the hide and seek game called? What's this hide and seek game called? Mecha Chameleon. Okay, never mind. I thought I was gonna be able to defend myself with the title of Mecha Chameleon, but that doesn't help at all. It helps a little. Hey, combat. There was a successful ARPG called Dungeon Runners. Yeah, okay. Fall Guys. Okay, there's interesting. I'm just saying, nowadays there are so many games that people need to know what your game is about from literally just hearing the name of it and or seeing the capsule art or both. Like, this is not the age of naming your game like something poetical and artsy or whatever, like Digital Iliad. Digital Iliad, maybe not the best name for a game, because you hear that and you're like, what's it about? But if you hear something specific, not to say Party Wipe is the epitome of this model, but like your name needs to tell people what the game is. It needs to be in the name. And if that means platformer make jump guy or whatever you said, great. All right, we're in an ad break. I need to go take a break here real quick, but we'll be back. We'll be back in a few. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. Happy Friday. Be right back. All right, we're back. We're back and we're standing up. Things are probably going to look weird. Let's see. Let's do a quick check. Oh, yeah, my green screen. Not set up for this.
Maximum walk.
All right. That's all right. Hey, Pheasant. We saw everything. We saw it all. Like Patrick Stewart before you. This is like an endless battle here to get everything behind the green screen. This is one of the reasons I don't just swap between sitting and standing in the middle of the stream. I usually have the camera and everything set up for one or the other. This is close. We're getting close. Man, this is like impossible. All right. That looks okay. We're standing. We're being healthy. How's it going, Pheasant? Hey, Fender. Thanks for the maximum warp. Yeah, Nix. Party Wipe could definitely be a party game. No avoiding that. I remember my example. Here's a game that tells you exactly what it is. And it's blown up. Gamble with your friends. This game is really fun. This game is about gambling with your friends. Because the thing about selling a game today, most people will never hear about your game. The people that do see anything about your game is they're going to see the capsule image and they're going to read the title. And that's all. That's it. That's all you got. The vast majority of people that ever see your game, they will see the capsule image and they will read. You'll be lucky if they read the title. So this is it. You've got one picture and one set of text. If you're very, very lucky, someone clicks on it and now you can show them your trailer. Most people aren't even ever going to see your trailer. Yeah, these guys are doing great. This game is doing very well. 10,000 reviews since May is very good. This game is fun as well. They got that going for them. So yeah, I would say we're in an age of descriptive game titles. It doesn't count because it's silly game. I don't understand what that means, but it's fine. Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter is great. Nearly perfect. Perfect game title, Monster Hunter. Very good. Very good. I don't think most people aren't doing things where they're like, what remains of Edith Finch? Some people still do it. The Order of the Sinking Star. What the fuck is that about? I don't know. It's probably going to be a good game, though. Thanks for the hydrate, Fender. I'm going to finish up my coffee here. Portal. Portal is about portals. God of War. See, I don't think it's just about describing what you're doing. It's also about communicating the appeal. Which is why I picked the name Party Wipe. I'm not saying Party Wipe is a perfect name, but anyone who plays D&D and is familiar with that world understands not just what the game is about, but what the fantasy is. Another way to describe the appeal is the fantasy. What's the fantasy? People need to know what the fantasy is before they play the game. Because games are sold based on fantasy, on whether this fantasy that you are selling is the fantasy that people want to live out, you know, or experience or play or however you want to think about it. So yeah, I would say if you're naming your game, think descriptively. Think about the avenues that you have to tell people about your game and explain your game. And your game title is the biggest one. Game title is the biggest avenue to tell people what your game is about. Darkest Dungeon appeals to people who are like, ooh, I like dark dungeons, and you say you have the darkest dungeon? I'm interested. You know? It's a little reductive, but that's the world we live in. I think unless you're successful, unless you're John Blow, maybe don't name your games Order of the Sinking Star. John Blow can do it because people, they won't refer to it as Order of the Sinking Star. They'll refer to it as the new John Blow game. OOTS, or whatever the acronym is. If you've got, you know, if people know you, you can name your game. If you're big enough, you can name your game whatever you want. Like Toby Fox can name their game Deltarune. Doesn't matter. I don't know what the fuck Deltarune means. But yeah. All right. I'm going to do this. We're going to do one thing this stream, and it's going to be to get this stupid UI working, because I have to do something. I can't just yap the whole stream. No, that's literally all I do. It's an anagram of Undertale. Okay, so that only makes sense to people who are intimately familiar with Undertale, so I feel like that helps my argument a little bit. But that's cool. I didn't know that. Deltarune. I can see that. You named your puzzle game the best puzzler. I think that's a fine selling point. I think you should tell people, like, one of the best game names is Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy. Because you know it's a rage game, because it's called Getting Over It. You know it's like a... You know it's some kind of platforming thing, because it's called Getting Over It. You know it was made by Bennett Foddy, because it's called Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy. Not everyone can put their name in the game, but I think if you can, you should. But yeah, descriptive game names are optimal. If assuming you don't have much clout and you're able to, you know, sell your game differently. Descriptive game names are good. All right, let's hook up the rest of these signals. And then now what we're going to do, I think I'm just going to have them call each other. I could have this like Spider-Man web slinger thing, where they're like all three of them standing there and they're all three listening to each other's signals. And they're like, should you go? Should I go? Who's going? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to have them just call each other and just whoever gets the signal will tell the other ones what to do, rather than just have everyone react to the signal simultaneously. All right, so if the undo button, so what we do need to do is we need to set export variables maybe. Export variable, we could say like start position. Or we could say like icon position. Maybe icon position. Vector 2. So they all know where they're supposed to be when they're in icon mode. And then we could have at export variable. And it could be like full position. I don't know. For when they're full. It seems fine. Because we got rid of our H box, which means we need to manually control the positioning. Where are these textures at? What engine was your first game made in and when? The very first... Well, it depends on what you mean by game. I don't have any commercial games. The first game that you can that's publicly available that you could go play that I have would be stuff I made in Godot a few years ago as part of a game jam. Those are my earliest publicly available games. They're probably from 2024. Before that, I used Unity for 15 years. Just as a hobbyist. I wasn't really sharing my work. I was just kind of doing my own thing for fun. Before that, I think I messed with Unreal Engine for a while. I think my very first game dev stuff I was doing was in the Source engine with the Hammer editor. I was doing like Half-Life 2 mods. That was probably my very first game dev experience. It's probably Source Engine. And that would probably have been like 2008, probably. My very first GDC was 2008. I remember that. But yeah, this public-facing game dev, like actually trying to do something as an indie thing, this is pretty new for me. I've been doing this for a few years. This is how those overnight successes work. If this game works and it comes out, people are going to be like, oh, Dave, he was an overnight success. And it'll be like, yeah, but I was trying to do it for like 20 years. It's always the same story. Getting wiped with Digital Iliad, that's funny. All right, so how are we going to do this? So we're going to, when the mouse enters, we are going to move to our full position. We'll say position equals full position. When we leave, we will return to our icon position. And we'll all do this independently. Well, no, the menu button is not going to do that. Maybe they should each respond to the signals for each of them. Like maybe we should know all of them instead of whatever I'm describing here. No, this is probably easier. But yeah, this isn't gonna, we're not gonna do anything here. On mouse exited. Might not do anything for that one. So undo button, on mouse exited, we'll say. Yeah, this is a little tricky, but we're going to try to do it this way. We're going to try to do this a simple way. We're going to say dot position equals menu button dot icon position or full position. On mouse entered. Let's say menu button dot position equals menu button dot icon position. I don't love this calling around thing, but this is what we're going to try. I also don't like the idea of each of them having 6 signals that they're listening to. So we're going to try this. Either way, this is a very like three Spider-Men all pointing to each other kind of situation, which is not great. But Counts, you think your first game engine game was building custom maps on the original StarCraft map editor? Nice. Made one popular enough you actually came across random hosting games of it a couple times. Nice. I never did that. I never got into the BattleNet. I mean, I played more Warcraft 3 than probably any other game I've ever played in my life, but like to this day. But I don't at that point I wasn't really thinking about wanting to make game stuff yet. But that's cool. It's pretty cool. Pretty good introduction, I would think. All right, let's figure out our positions here. So what your position is right now. So the redo button has the same position whether it's an icon or not. It's just this 471 by 323. I'm not going to make that distinction. This one. Oh, shit. Okay, no. This is why I wanted to use an HBox container. This is more annoying than I thought it would be. All right. So what we're going to do is each button is going to know what its position is for whenever one of the buttons is focused on. So we're going to have it, we are actually going to do a little bit more of a complicated signaling thing, where each button is actually going to listen to all 3 button signals. And then instead of telling other people what to do, it's just going to configure itself for whichever button is being hovered. And this is how we're going to do the menu bar thing. It's a little dumber. Well, dumber is not the right word. It's a little weird, but I think this will be better. So instead of full position, icon position, what we're going to have is I think there will be an icon position. Well, no, there won't be an icon position. There would basically be, so menu button would have a menu position. It would also have a redo position and an undo position. So it has a position depending on which button is active. That's what we're going to do. So they're not going to be affecting each other. They're only going to affect themselves, but they're going to be listening to see who has the input. This is going to be kind of annoying to set up, but we're going to do it. We're going to do it in the next like hour because I want this to be done. I feel like this stream has been me just not doing anything the whole time. This. Undo menu button. Personally, you'd have a separate manager node that manages those buttons instead of having them interact with each other. I don't want to. We're not going to do a control node hierarchy for this. We're not going to do that for 3 buttons. That was the intent. The original intent was to just use an HBox container, but the HBox container didn't work, so we're just doing it ourselves. But no, we're not going to do that for 3 buttons that are all peers of each other. That's too much. Because that creates a control node hierarchy, and if I create a control node hierarchy, we're gonna do that a different. We would be way more particular about how that would work. Yeah, we have managers all over the place, but not here. We're not going to do that here. I'm not saying this is a good way to do it, but this is the way we're going to do it. I like this better than the other way, than the other ways. There's a million ways to skin a cat, as they say. And it's just a button, so I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm still just annoyed at the I'm still mostly just annoyed at the HBox container for failing me. Every time I try to rely on a control node to do something, it's just like, sorry. We're the worst. Yeah, the HBox doesn't work. HBox doesn't work, Nanigans. We tried it. It doesn't seem to adjust the positioning when you change the size of the texture button. It does if you do it in the editor. But if you do it during runtime, it doesn't move it. We tested that earlier. Because I would love to have just slapped all of these into an HBox container and just be done with it. But yeah, it didn't work. Didn't work. So we're just going to do it ourselves. As always. That's why you were saying to use transforms instead. Let me understand the hierarchy you were suggesting. HBox, menu button. HBox, undo button. HBox, redo button. Oh, were you going to HBox every single button in its own HBox? You were going to do this like recursive HBox thing? That's fascinating. Would that have worked? Yeah, it's true. I can't actually do offset transform. I'm not on 4.7. I think I could be on 4.7, but I'm not. What am I doing? Setting the undos. Okay. We're going to do this. It's going to be fine. It's going to be a little tedious to set up, but once it's set up, it'll never need to change, so it'll be fine. And this way, each one of them is only responsible for their own state. They just listen for the input on the others. And it'll be fine. Yeah, you would think that it just works, but there's something about doing it at runtime. I even tried manually updating the size of the child, but control nodes automatically update their size based on the texture that you feed it in. And for some reason, the HBox just wouldn't respect the new size of the buttons. So yeah, I like HBox. I like HBoxes as much as the next guy. I'm honestly surprised they don't work in this case. I would have liked them to have just worked. I was willing to put a control hierarchy here just to do it. But we're just going to do this instead. We should be fine. So what I want to do is I want to set our positions. This will be fine too. So why are my export variables not updating? Oh, did I not actually set them up everywhere? Only here. Should I call this not like menu position? I probably should call this like position relative to whatever. Oh, what I can do is I can get rid of these on-ready references. I should probably name this variable better. I should say like position relative to menu. Position relative to, well, relative to doesn't make a lot of sense either. Menu focus position, let's call it that. Redo focus position, undo focus position. So each one will know what its position should be when the other ones are in focus, and that's literally all I need in terms of positioning them. That's not that bad. Hope everyone's having a good Friday. I'm ready for the weekend. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm ready for it. I mean, mostly probably just work, but... All right, so redo position. So the redo button... So the redo button is unique in that it has the same number for all of these, but that's fine. That's because it's on the far left. 471323. All right, and then so when this is in, so when undo button is in menu mode, when the menu is focused, the undo icon is in, is it 502323? 502323. When the redo is focused, it has a different position, but we need to calculate that. When the undo is focused, it's also at 502323. Menu button, when the menu is focused, it is at 533323. When the redo is focused, so we need to, so let's make the redo focused. So let's just say this is pressed. Oh, let's toggle mode it, then say it's pressed. Now it's going to make me move these myself. Hey, Dunkle. How's it going? So we're going to set this to small. And we're going to move it over. We're going to move both of these over. I'm going to perfectly guess where this should be. It should probably be... Actually, I don't know where this should be relative to this. But we need to flip it to the other side. How's this work? I don't think I actually thought of this contingency yet, which is unfortunate. Going fine? You're really curious how the menu will work out? I think it'll be good. We're making the menu bar at the bottom, which is going to have 3 icons. And when you hover over any one of the icons, it expands out to the full name. HBox container has failed us because it can't handle when the container size changes for some reason. It won't reposition them. Super weird. I thought for sure HBox container would be able to handle that, but it does not, so we're doing it ourselves here. But now I'm confused about this. Do I actually need a copy of the undo button? That's like the flipped version of this. Do I actually need undo button right? I think I do. Which is fine because we have that. We made it. I just need to create an Atlas texture for it. Atlas texture. Calling this undo button small. I could have just called it icon, huh? Instead of small. That was left, so we need right. Undo, redo. Undo button right is at 68. 34, 34. I think I need this version of it. Save. So I would swap this to this one. I'm gonna rename these icon. Well, maybe not. Small was kind of good. Small was nice alphabetically. Put them all at the bottom. They sorted to the bottom, which was nice. Sometimes a review box container, the resize signal must awaited. Yeah, I don't know. I was doing it where I was swapping them out and it was just like, sorry. We're still positioning it relative to the size that it was at when we, relative to the size at edit time. Because it will update at edit time if you swap them around. But for some reason it won't update them live. I'm at least as disappointed as you are. All right, so I think I want this one to be here. We'll also need to lower the layer or raise the layer of whichever one is active for all of this to work, right? Which is fine. That's why we're doing this in code. So the undo button would be here. And the menu button. Maybe I don't do the pressed version of this. I want to see the hovered version, not the pressed version. So we'll just swap that in here. So that's that. So this one would then be like this. This one would now be here. Maybe it would be over by even one more. I'm not sure. This feels right. but I also want it to be consistent. So let's also set the menu button. Like this. Using the Z indexing is gonna hurt me. Oh no, because I have canvas layers. I have canvas layers. All right, see you, Nanigans. Have a good weekend. Undo will go to 1. Okay, well now things are not in the right spot. I didn't move this, did I? I think so. So I need to move these back a bit. This needs to be here. This one needs to be like maybe here. Not exactly what I want. I'm just gonna make sure I'm positioning all of this right. So if we grab this and we take this back to its like icon version, which it's supposed to be here, and we take this one, make this one its left version of the icon. So I think I need to add this part here. Is that too much? That was too much. Dude. This goes out to here. Go. So this one will be like here. I kind of want it to be here, but let's see what the menu is. Set the menu button to be this one. Move it back. Move it, align it with the end turn button, which I guess the end turn button doesn't have to be exactly here. Is there a reason I put it exactly here? It's the opposition manager. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Where is the end turn button? It's 6 for some reason. Should be 3 out now. Okay. Move all of these like that. So you're going to be there. It's fixed there. This is why we're doing this in code. There's a lot of layer stuff happening here. Reduce your layer. So yeah, this is good here. This is too far out, which I guess is what I was seeing, which is why I'm doing a sanity check here. This needs to be lower. So we have this kind of like a little accordioning menu thing. Because a lot of times you aren't even going to be able to undo redo, right? So most of the time it's just going to be on this menu. But if you hover over the undo one will expand out and the menu one will collapse. And it's how I'm putting a menu bar on like one line here. So it's just down here. But yeah, if I slap these into an HBox container, they don't update. It's really frustrating. Even though they swap sizes when you hover over them. You can see because of the outline. Very annoying. All right. Right. Okay. So these are the right positions. So let's resync based on these positions here. So redo button. So your position in all cases should be 475 323. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this in the next like 15 minutes because this is driving me insane. It's also horrible that I decided to work on this instead of serialization today, but you know, 505, 505, and then we need to figure that position out. We're just benchmarking everything here though. 535, 323, 535, 323. Okay, so now let's just do this one at a time. So let's swap the menu to its button version. It's like icon version, I should say. And then let's swap the undo button to its longer version. And then let's move the menu button to where it should be. Which is here. We'll layer this so we can see it correctly. Pull up this one's layer like that. So now its position is 603. So when undo is focused, its new position is 603, 323. The other two remain unchanged. And then if we swap this one to the icon version of it, which I think needs to be this version of it. Well, let's before we do that, let's swap this to the full version. Redo button. Is there a reason I didn't record the normal version? No, I just forgot. 34. Save as. Redo button. Normal. So if we swap this one in. Now this one moves down. So this one shouldn't move, and this one moves down. And then this one's layer goes up. So the layering is right. I mean, I guess I could shuffle them in the tree, but that seems insane compared to just changing their Z layer. So why is 1 not work? Because that one's still at 1. Let's put you down to 0 again. Oh no, but you need to be 1. You need to be 2. And then we need to figure out where here this is supposed to be. I think here, maybe here. I think here. I think that's right. Arguable whether this one should have like the purple shadow on it. I think it should, maybe. See what that looks like. Yeah, that's nice. This one should too then. All right, so now your position in this mode is now 573. So its redo focus position is 573. 2, 3. This thing's position should be the same. 603, 323. So these will handle their own stuff. I don't love that this size isn't being updated, but I think that's, I actually don't know why that's happening. No, it's not changing. Where does it say size? Here it says container nodes. Oh, what's the difference between a container and a control? Container. Class container. Inherits control. Inherited by. Buttons? Tell me base buttons. No. Oh, well, maybe this is my problem. Size, maybe size isn't being updated. We were setting it in code and that didn't help though. So, I don't know, whatever. I hate container nodes, or I hate control nodes, let's be clear. Let's be clear. But yeah, it seems like base button is on a different hierarchy. Yeah, okay. So I think I need to update the size of these as well. Well, no, this one updated. Why did this one update but not this one? I don't know. I'm over it. We're just gonna make it work. We're gonna make it work with what we got. Put this one back. This one back as well to 505. And then swap it back to this version. Fix their layers. Swap this one back to 535. Put it back to this one. Maybe there's something about buttons where, because they aren't containers, maybe there's something about like, hey, Scyther, thank you. Appreciate you. Maybe there's something about they get their size from like their normal texture, but if they swap to like a button pressed one that has a different size, maybe they don't update it. Because I guess they aren't containers. But I don't know. I manually changed the size in code and it didn't help, so we're not gonna double back and try the HBox again. We're not gonna do it. Okay, everything knows its position now. So let's start by just setting their positions. So redo button, on menu button, mouse entered. I don't know if we're gonna do anything on exit necessarily, but on menu button mouse entered, we are going to say position equals menu focus position. Redo button entered, we're going to say position equals redo focus position. On undo button entered, we're going to say position equals undo button undo focus position, and we're just going to iterate that for the rest of these. In fact, I can just copy this. I can just copy these around. Okay, well, we're not swapping the textures yet, but the positioning is working. It's not going to work correctly until we swap the... Oh, interesting. Yeah, there's something weird about this. Because you'll notice that when I mouse over this, it switches to what is very much the wrong texture, but that aside, it should be switching to this one. Yeah, I think I'm on the right track in terms of the size is set by like whatever the base version is, because the button is not interactable over this expanded area. But what if? So let's do this, and let's go here, and let's say on redo button mouse entered, let's say size equals texture hover dot get size. Let's see if that fixes that. Okay, now it's interactable here. So we need to do that everywhere. We're gonna have a problem. So when undo button mouse entered, we need to say size equals texture normal. Well, maybe not texture normal. Actually for this one, yeah, that's correct. Texture normal dot get size. Same with the menu. I don't know, maybe HBox would have worked if I had fiddled with it for a while longer. I just have so little patience for those. That's... Oh, I need to update it elsewhere. So if we do that, we also do this. So what if we were here? So on exit, we also need to do that then. Actually, in fact, we might only need to do it on exit. Redo button size equals texture normal dot get size. What time is it? 3. Out of time. Okay, I really want to get this working, but we're gonna do our best to see what we can do in the next like 5 minutes. You think you're also setting Sive on self? No, these are self. These are, each script is just for itself. Hey pandas, is this a new project? No, it's a new project. We started about a month ago. It's called Party Wipe, and it's a roguelike deck builder where you draft an RPG party. So you have like a knight. It's like a mix of like a card game like Slay the Spire and like a turn-based tactics game like Into the Breach. So your party are your cards and all their equipment, and you can like level up them and their gear and stuff. So like I have a chipped maul, and I can play another chipped maul, and it will level the card up. And then if I discard that, now I've got a level 2 chipped maul in my discard. So it's like, it's about trying to like build up your party and level them up and get better equipment and stuff while fighting these encounters in these dungeons and trying not to party wipe. I think maybe we could have done this with HBox, but we would have still needed to do a bunch of stuff in code to modify stuff. So the fact that we're doing it all in code is like whatever, right? Like we were going to need all of these signals and we were going to need to make modifications. So c'est la vie. Kind of gives off Munchkin vibes. Yeah, someone mentioned that. Someone mentioned Munchkin. Should play that next time I'm at a board game place. Nice color palette. Thanks, Dunkel. Yeah, I took the colors out of the asset pack we're using for like the sprites, but then I built a UI with it. Appreciate that. So I'm using only sprite colors, Well, I say only. This menu background color is a color I have from somewhere else. But aside from that color, aside from this one dark, dark, dark purple, everything else is from the sprite pack. But yeah, we're implementing this menu bar. Yeah, but yeah, how's it going, pandas? It's been a minute. You're catching us kind of at the end. I really do need to get back to work. But I also really want to finish this. We can hang out for another, like, 10 minutes, maybe. So we'll do it. We're going to try to push through. But yeah, we're also kind of trying to treat this project like as a jam. We're trying to approach it very differently than our quote-unquote dream game. So we're using, like, card plugins, so, like, to do all the card stuff. We're using asset packs to do the sprites. We're trying to move fast. We hit a bit of a snag because we're working on a serialization system, and that's kind of complicated no matter how you do it, but hoping to get back to working out the turn-based stuff. We figured out a lot of the card stuff and the UI stuff, but we need to dig into the actual mechanics. All right, so does everyone have this texture thing? The undo button needs to have it. Undo button, we would say size equals texture hover dot get size. And now we would go back to size equals texture normal dot get size. Texture normal. Texture normal. I will be streaming tomorrow, so we're going to do our usual Saturday stream. Maybe it'll be a bit of a long one. I don't know. I feel behind. I feel very behind on all this work. But, we're working on it. Okay, so we got the redo button thing. We got the undo button thing. I need to update their layers. Menu one is wrong by default, which is interesting. So I need to do that. So on the menu button one, we need to say menu button on redo mouse entered position is this. We need to say, so this is where we start swapping things. So we need to say texture normal equals menu normal. And then we need to say size. Well, we can actually do size first. We can say size equals menu icon, not menu normal, menu icon dot get size. We can do the same thing here. And then we'll do the opposite of it. We'll say this and this menu norm. I'm going to say this. I'm feeling unwell. Just as an update. I think I need a snack. I'm going to cut up an apple or something. I went and got dinner. Here's the danger of machine translated DoorDash pages. Got dinner. I was told there would be broccoli with my sesame chicken. There was not. I should have just ordered the broccoli beef or the broccoli chicken. Instead, I was like, I'll order the sesame chicken. It says it comes with broccoli. There was broccoli in the picture, but no broccoli to be had. Beware the machine translated. What's unfortunate is I still have another half of sesame chicken to eat tonight, and not a vegetable in sight. All right, no worries, LSG. Good luck. Let's see if this works now. Crash size equals menu. Oh, well, it would help if I plugged in the export variable, I guess. Menu icon is this. Menu normal is this. Translated from what? I don't know. Whatever. It was a Chinese restaurant, so Mandarin probably. Maybe Cantonese. Well, I don't know if it was translated. They're generated, right? The store descriptions on DoorDash can be generated. And I think they generated it from the picture. And the picture had like a handful of broccoli in it. So they were like, yes, this must include broccoli. And to be fair, the picture had like 4 pieces of broccoli in it. So it was probably just for like, to make the photo nice. I'm in San Francisco. So yeah, I don't think it was a translation issue. I think they're using AI to generate their page descriptions by analyzing the images that stores update, they update to their menu. I don't think they actually require people to submit textual descriptions. I think you can just send a picture and they generate the description, which is crazy. I mean, I think that's nice in terms of from an accessibility standpoint. Okay, this kind of works. We need to update the layering. But this is close to what we want, right? Except for some of the layering issues at the end. Ooh, that's weird. That went wrong. Undo is not repositioning itself when we exit. That's fine. We can fix that. It's fine. It's fine. The place is cheap. I go there all the time. I was greedy and I was like, I want sesame chicken. I knew I should have just ordered like broccoli beef or chicken or broccoli chicken. Because I really wanted a big thing of broccoli. But I was like, oh, maybe I can have some sesame chicken and broccoli. Maybe I'll just go buy some broccoli and microwave up some broccoli tonight. That's probably what I'll do. I'll probably just go buy like a head of broccoli from the corner store or something. I've reached the age where if I don't have enough vegetables, like my body shuts down. All right, this is my last snooze on the ads. And I have a meeting in a bit, in 20 minutes. So we're going to wrap up in about 5 minutes, but I really want to finish this. I really, absolutely, desperately need to finish this. Size. Exit. Okay, we're missing one. Extra normal guts. Gets. Yeah. Okay. So this is, and this also needs to update the button as well. Hey, Sophia. Welcome in. You're catching us at the end, but thank you. Thank you for hopping in here. Clearly, I streamed too early. Clearly, I need to stream later because lots of people start coming in right as I'm about to be done. But we will be back tomorrow. We will stream on Saturday. We'll try to do a longer weekend stream for everyone, especially for me because I need to finish this serialization stuff. We need to get things saving and loading like as soon as possible. Okay, I don't think I finished all of those cases, but that's close to what I want. What if I do this? That's good. That's what I want too. So except for the layering, which we can just fix, this is looking good. This is looking like what I want to implement, which is a nice compact menu bar at the bottom. And then sometimes this will be disabled. Like redo is going to be disabled until you undo, right? And undo is going to be disabled until you do something. So you'd be in this kind of a situation normally. It's already 1 a.m. for you. Oh, that's really late. Oh, if this is disabled, oh, we need to do like a if not disabled. We need to be like if disabled, return. You could stream in the early evening block instead of at night. You gotta have a break after work. No, I get it. Hey, what? What the heck? Did I put these on the wrong scripts? I probably did. Redo button. If disabled. Base button dot disabled. If true, the button is in disabled state and can't be clicked or toggled. What did I do this on? The undo button? All right, yeah, I'm out of time. So apparently... Oh, Nate, what? What is happening? Oh, is the... I don't know. Whatever. The disabled state is not working the way I expect it to, but I'll figure that out later. I have to go. This has been fun. This was more of a yap fest. Standing was nice. I'll stand more often. Don't expect the sit, stand, redeem to come back anytime soon, because transitioning from them is really annoying. But thanks everyone for watching. Hope you all have a great rest of your day, and maybe I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.